If you're going through a divorce, your relationship with your children is going to change. And I'm going to share with you some really important information that's going to help you keep that relationship intact as you move forward with your new life. If you're going through a divorce, I'm sure you've had some friends or family give you advice or tips or recommendations. And I know those people had every best intention and they're probably well-meaning people. But the reality is their advice may not be the best for your situation because their advice is based upon their situation or their observations. Your situation is different from anybody else's. So trying to apply a one-size-fits-all approach is probably not the best thing for you. In this video, I'm going to share some best practices and some tips that are going to help you through this process. Now, I'm going to share with you a story that I share with a lot of my clients because a lot of my clients ask me, what should I say? Especially when they're asked a direct question, like they're given some information from the other side and they want to fight back. They want to prove their story to their children. And what I tell my clients is you're not doing your kids any favors. In fact, you're probably harming them more. Kids don't need to be choosing between parents. They don't need to choose a side, and the parent that puts them in that spot is doing more harm than good. The best advice I can give you is an analogy of when your kids were younger, and then as they grow with age, they can carry more. For example, when they were little, they would help with groceries. When they were real little, the only thing they could carry in was maybe a loaf of bread. But as they got older, they could carry bigger bags. Eventually, they could carry a gallon of milk in. Because as they aged, they could handle more. They could carry more. And you should approach the same thing with your children. When they're little, you don't need to be giving them all that information. All they need to know is that you love them, that their other parent loves them, and that you're going to get through this. You don't need to get into the causes of the divorce. That's the last thing that the kid needs to hear. Focus instead on your relationship with your kid and leave everything else out. If they ask more questions, you can use this analogy and you say, when you get older, I'll tell you more if you're ready to carry that weight, and then change the subject. The kids are going to go along with it. I encourage you to do the same. The next thing you need to do is you need to check your emotions. You need to understand how you're feeling. If you're very sad or angry or upset, you need to check yourself before you wreck yourself. Yeah, I know, I said it. But the bottom line is, it's true. You only you really know how you're feeling. And if you're feeling in a way that's going to come across wrong to your kids, you can do a lot of damage by having the conversations with them at that time. If that comes up, you simply need to say, now is not the time to talk. I need some time and I will talk to you about it later. That's it. You don't need to give them any more or any less. Let's talk about how you should be talking with your kids. First and foremost, we need to recognize that they are children. Let them be children. Don't force them to grow up and be adults. Don't force them to choose a side. It's important that you let them know how much you love them. It's important that you assure them of the other side's love. Even if you don't believe that, it's important that your kids feel love from both you and the other side. It's important that the kids feel like they're not the cause of this, even if they are the cause, because the reality is, I know that sometimes children are the cause of a breakup. It's important that you and your spouse have a united front, letting them know that they are not the cause of the breakup, that you both love them and that you're going to get through this. Here's the thing. There are kids things and there are adult things. Your divorce in your case is an adult conversation. Your children don't need to be a part of it. You need to focus on your love for them and assuring them that things are going to be okay, that there's going to be some changes, some adjustments, but that you're going to get through it. Now, it's really important that you try and keep routines. Try to keep boundaries where they are, discipline when appropriate, and keep the communication open to the level that they need. Again, we talked about adult conversations and kid conversations. Your kids don't need to know exactly everything that's going on in court, but they do need to hear some consistent communication from you and your ex. If you and your ex have agreed to a schedule, if possible, communicate that to them at the same time. Let them know what the schedule is, let them know the routine so that your kids can have the proper expectations. All right, the last thing I want to talk about in this video is your communication with your ex. Now, you're going to have to communicate with them somehow, some way. And it's really important that you recognize the appropriate times to communicate and the methods to communicate. It's really important that you recognize that your kids are listening more than you think, even when you think they're not listening. If they're in another room or they got their headphones in or somehow they're playing video games or otherwise distracted, they're listening. Keep that in mind. You don't need them involved in everything that's going on. When you want to engage, when you're feeling those emotions getting to you, that's the time to step away. If things don't go perfect at drop off or pickup, that's not the time to engage with your ex and try and win them over. Save it for a different time and a different place. Now, these are very, very difficult things to do, and even the best of people struggle with it. It's important to have a trusted advisor there to help you through these things. If you need that help, our office is here and we'll be happy to help you.